Yes,
they have no place to sleep. We see children that they are eating rubbish,
yes,
for example.
Yes.
What about these? How can we work on these places?
Well, there is a whole range of different situations, even within a given area. Say within Esbit al-Hagana, you have 12-story buildings that were built in the past few years, you know, brick and concrete like any other building, and there are other buildings that are just nothing, you know, just mud brick and pieces of cardboard, and like you say, the roof is just cardboard and tin, whatever they have, the tires and rocks and things to hold it down.
Whenever it will rain, for example,
yeah,
it's over.
Yes, you have so they need to be helped to improve their houses. But we have a group at the university that has been working over the past year to develop a strategy, suggestions and approaches for how to deal with the problem of the informal areas, especially the areas that are either deteriorated formal areas, parts of Islamic Cairo, which is a tremendous cultural wealth, and it's just being allowed to fall apart. But also the real slums, the informal areas that are areas within them or larger areas that are very, very inadequate. And of course, you have people living in dangerous situations like Duwea. I mean, Duwea happened in 2008, I think, and since that time there was still
I'm sure
people.
there are more accidents happening on a daily, monthly
and there are
basis.
still people waiting, even from the people who suffered from Duwea, waiting for housing or being assigned housing in 6th October.
How can we work on this?
Right, yeah, could you elaborate more on the initiative that you're working on right now to actually bring these areas up and provide more public services? How are you doing it exactly? Because I am sure it's not an easy job, especially if the government has neglected these areas.
Yes,
right, and they're not even involved, and how are you actually helping?
What we're trying to do actually is to get the government involved, but in partnership with the community. There has been kind of a choice between either something is done by the government or it's done by the people themselves on their own. And what we need is really for both of those parties to come together with international funders if possible, but also mobilizing local funds, because there are a lot of resources that are available where the people themselves can contribute, but they need the technical guidance, they need the additional inputs to be able to do it. So this project that we're working on now is hopefully, I mean, Esbit al-Hagana, 2 primary schools of their own, no middle schools, no secondary schools. There's a clinic, but no hospital. I mean, they're really no police station, no fire station, no post offices. So these are things where the government needs to make the decision to actually bring these services, which are the right of the people that live there, to bring these services to these areas. And not just say, oh, this is a temporary thing, they're going to be gone, we're going to move them someplace else. Because that's one thing also which has failed. Moving these people to new cities has not succeeded. This has not been a good strategy because they do not have services there either, and because they have no jobs there, so they just return. So this is a problem that's not going to be solved in a day. It's a problem that's not going to be solved in a year. But if the government really makes the effort and recognizes the importance for the development of Egypt, for the future of Egypt, to bring these areas, fully integrate them into the society, integrate them into the economy, that's really what's going to have to be done to be able to make Egypt the kind of country that we would like to see.
I think without just working on these people, we can never achieve success, we can never achieve democracy, we can never achieve anything, of course.
This is the majority of the citizens, and so you can't possibly do these things without including them.
They are not aware of anything, what is going on around, and maybe some people, because some of them also, they go to vote, for example, and they don't have any political awareness or anything. All what they care about is the bread that they're asking for, and this is the simplest, the basic needs. And I think this is their own right. They must not ask for the bread. They must not ask for this, because this is something that is taken for granted, for example.
It should be, but then, I mean, any person who is in a situation where they did not have food for their family, this would be the first thing that they would be thinking.
You can never talk to them about anything.
Yes. I mean, they may have other concerns, but this is an immediate concern that must be met. And until that's met, it's very hard for them to focus on other things. But I think that's just part of being a person. You can't expect them to think about these other things until these basic needs are met. And that's why we're really trying to raise awareness, but also to really say this is a policy problem. The government has to have a comprehensive approach to partner with the people, to mobilize resources on their side, to mobilize resources on the people's side, to work with them to develop solutions that really work for everyone and that can be implemented on a broad scale. Not little pilot projects here and there, pretty little pictures, and then the rest of things just left.
We want it to be solved at the base.
Unsolved, exactly.
Professor Jennifer Bremer, Chairman of the Department of Public Policy and Administration at the American University in Cairo, thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck on your project. Hopefully we do see some effective successes between the government and other organizations. Thank you so much. And the Egyptian Chamber of Commerce in Alexandria held recently a meeting with an American delegation representing business organizations specialized in funding and supporting private sector projects. Our reporter Nermeen Abdulrahman filed in this report, and we'll be right back with more.
The Egyptian Chambers of Commerce in Alexandria are exerting more efforts a day after the other to push forward the private sector. To achieve this aim, the Chamber hosted recently an American delegation representing a number of American organizations specialized in cooperating with the private sector in funding trade and industrial projects.
Today we're here and I'm very grateful to the government and the chamber to help facilitate this project, but to try to give more exposure to the programs we already offer. And one of the most important is a program to provide financing, or rather guarantees for financing for small and medium-sized businesses, which in any economy is the biggest generator of employment. But we also have programs from our Export-Import Bank, from Trade and Development Authority, which does feasibility studies for larger projects. We have programs from Overseas Private Investment Corporation, but the one I'm most interested in, and I hope these young people will take advantage, is a program for financing for small and medium-sized businesses.
Among the U.S. organizations which visited Alex on the 5th of February were the U.S. Agency of Trade Development, USTDA, the Ex-Im Bank, the USAID and others.
كل المشاريع في مصر في احتياج.
All projects in Egypt are in need of the American support, as there are programs presented by the U.S. governmental institutions in the technical methods or visibility studies. Today, we are concentrating on the Egyptian workers, their needs, their capabilities, how to help them in invading markets of labor inside and outside Egypt. The gathering also listed the facilities offered by the Egyptian government to the Egyptian and foreign investors.
بالتنسيق مع الصندوق الاجتماعي.
The governorate, in cooperation with the Social Fund, is helping the minor and medium projects, as they can play a big role in the economic process and progress in any country, especially in Egypt, in this critical period of its history.
تقريبا جميع التراخيص.
The meeting of the Egyptian Chamber of Commerce and U.S. business delegation marks another phase of mutual cooperation. Nermeen Abdulrahman reporting for Nile TV International.